Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
There's a legal problem that happens in the RV world and the used car world from time to time. And it happens more often with RVs, I believe. But I've had people call my office before and say, Steve, I had an RV, I wanted to get rid of it, which is pretty much a common refrain. And so I found a dealer that says they would take it in on consignment. So I took it to them, and they had it on consignment. And then later on, I found out they sold it. And they didn't give me my money. So I contacted them, and they said, oh, yeah, we just sold it. But they poke around, discover, no, it actually got sold a little while back. It's like, well, then where's my money? Oh, yeah, we're having trouble. Our bookkeeper is sick. The sun was in my eyes. We didn't send you your money yet? I got a check. We mailed you a check. That darn post office. And so I got a couple people sending me this story about an RV dealer closing and leaving its customers in debt. And part of the problem here is that some of the RVs that were sold had liens on them. And the liens weren't extinguished, meaning that somebody else is now driving an RV that you used to own, but you still have to make payments on. And the money that was supposed to go to you for the sale of the RV and or your bank somehow didn't make it to you. So KKCO11news.com reports this story. RV dealer closes, leaving customers in debt. Adam Woodbury wrote it. Stories out of Grand Junction, Colorado. Several people across the Grand Valley claim that they're still in debt over a trailer or RV that they no longer own after a local dealer sold theirs on consignment. According to claims filed with the Better Business Bureau and other online reviews, and also emails seen by KKCO, the dealer in question promised to sell the RV for a customer on consignment, meaning they would sell it on the customer's behalf. Then after a commission and other fees, the remaining profit would then be passed back to the original owner. However, several customers, including a woman named Tessa Sheridan, said the dealer never paid them the money they were owed after selling their RV. It was about 2 months after we kept bothering them that they had said nothing. And then it was just excuse after excuse after excuse, but why we were not receiving anything. She said she and her husband gave the dealership their trailer at the end of the summer in 2022. They heard almost nothing about it selling or any potential buyers for 2 months. Then in October, the dealer's finance officer sent them an email saying that their trailer sold for $37,000. And after commissions and consignment fees and all that other stuff, they'd be getting a check for $31,177.50. According to this woman, though, she never got the money. And as far as her bank is concerned, she still owns the trailer because there is, in fact, a lien on that RV. So she said, we're still having to make payments on it. So we call the bank, and they're like, well, there's nothing we can do about it until we get a payoff. So then December rolled around, still no check from the dealer. And then when she called them, they said that their money was tight. Money was tight. They said their secretary is going through some health issues. Oh, it's the secretary's fault. And she was late getting the payments out. Blame it on the secretary. See, the implication is they still have the money. And one of the most interesting things is that if you wind up in a situation where somebody's got your money allegedly sitting in a bank account, they just haven't gotten it to you yet, and later on the money's gone, somebody can come in and subpoena the bank records to see what that bank balance was. And it better be above the amount they owe you at that moment in time. Because if it's not, it means your money's not there and it's not the secretary's fault. She said once she and her husband threatened legal action, and they said they would also involve the police. At that point, the dealership stopped talking to them. Other customers that they located on the Better Business Bureau and some who had emailed the TV station directly said the same basic story. They worked with a salesperson at that dealership. Their trailer or RV was sold on consignment, and they never got any money. TV station left several messages with the dealership, and none of them were returned. And then on April 11th, the lot was gated up, chained, and locked. Now, here's the problem. Dozens of RVs and trailers were still on the lot, but no one was around to do anything about it, like sell the vehicles or return them. That's when a message to the Colorado Department of Revenue confirmed that the dealership had surrendered its business license in February of 2023, meaning the company is officially no longer in business. Now, customers who are owed money are left high and dry and in debt. And a woman at the top of the story says, if I would have known that at the beginning, I would have not brought my trailer there. She said she and her husband reached out to the Colorado Attorney General's office and was told there wasn't anything that could be done at this time. And she should understand there's nothing that the Attorney General's office could do. You could obviously hire an attorney and sue, but the problem is that I suspect that dealership, once they pulled the plug on it, you'd have to be going after the principals and so on personally, and you might be able to do that. Also, the question is if they'd posted a bond. But the problem is that in many states, the bond required of a dealership is too small to take care of many people. So she also reached out to a private attorney who required money up front, and she said that will put her and her husband in further debt. And this is the kind of case where I've handled cases like this in my career. I've been practicing law now for 32 years. There's a time when I'd file lawsuits against anybody if they had a claim against them that was valid on behalf of a client of mine. And the problem, of course, is I actually wound up with a bunch of uncollectible judgments. And when you get a judgment against somebody, it means you win. You get a default judgment, for instance, for the full amount. It's a piece of paper. And then you discover that the people you're suing have no more assets. Now, the thing I'm curious about is there's dealerships locked up, but there are dozens of RVs and trailers still on the lot. Who owns them? I suspect most of them, if not all of them, are owned by customers. So theoretically, those customers can come back and get those RVs and trailers. They may have to jump through some hoops to get them back, which is unfortunate. I tried to teach my kids to do the right thing, and this is just not right. What they're doing, it's completely wrong, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen. The Mesa County Sheriff's Office confirmed it's currently investigating between 13 and 15 cases involving this dealership, but couldn't provide any further details. So one of the things that you'll discover is that a lot of dealerships, if you actually look at their name on their paperwork, it'll say, Mike's RV Shack of Texas, LLC. And so what will happen is, an LLC, of course, is a limited liability company, and it's a form of a corporation that you can form. And if not that, it might just be a typical corporation. And so they'll be conducting business in the name of the corporation. And then when things go bad or financially they wind up insolvent, they just pull the plug on it and walk away from it. And so that might be all fine and good if a company's been just simply operating in an upright manner but couldn't make it. But if criminal acts occurred, there might be ways to what they call pierce the corporate veil. Because if you ever read the corporate papers that are filed with your state about forming a corporation, it'll say, what's the purpose of this corporation? And quite often, states will accept it if you simply say, this corporation will earn a profit in a lawful manner or in any lawful manner. But a lawful manner is the key. Corporation is not allowed to break the law simply because it's a corporation. So if a corporation starts doing things that are unlawful, then you can often sue the people behind the corporation and say, well, you had a license perhaps to broker vehicles, right? And so when you broker a vehicle, I guarantee you the laws of that state say that you shall, send the money to the owner of the vehicle promptly. And failure to do that is probably not just a civil action, but a criminal action, meaning that somebody could actually be prosecuted for a crime. And now this isn't the same as somebody holding up a gas station running off in the night wearing a mask. But fraud is something that's illegal. It's something you can sue someone for, but it's also something that someone can be prosecuted for. And the only reason you don't hear about a lot of prosecutions in cases like this is that people will say, well, we didn't sell their vehicle intending to defraud the owner. We sold their vehicle with every intent of passing the money along to the owner. But what happened was a bill came in and somebody accidentally paid it out of the wrong account. Next thing you know, we didn't have the money. And when you have to prove intent in court, somebody was thinking and planning on doing why they did what they did, the intent aspect of fraud is actually quite hard to prove. And so with a dozen cases, I would hope that a prosecutor would step up and take this and prosecute somebody. But whether these people get their money back, highly unlikely. And so I know that in the other cases I've heard of, and I have heard of other cases specifically with RVs And I've also heard of this problem with automobile dealerships, brokers, but it's usually in the RV or boat. I've also heard it with boats. And so what happens is the company's trying to run, pay their salaries, all that stuff. You think it's hard to sell RVs? Try to sell used ones. It's even worse. So in case you don't know, like if this is the first video of mine you've seen, I did a video called Don't Buy an RV. And sadly, a lot of people watch that video and then call my office and say, I bought an RV. Can you help me? And I say, oh, did you ever see my video called Don't Buy an RV? And they say, yeah, I saw that just today. That's why I'm calling you. So I say, well, unfortunately, I can't help you because most people call me from out of state. And also RVs are very, very difficult to handle as a defective product. So I don't handle RV cases anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore. So when someone calls me, it's unfortunate, but they're calling me after the fact, which is why I made that video. I said, don't buy an RV because all of these things can happen to you. And people call me when these things happen to them. And I can't help them. And I've jokingly told people I feel like I am an emergency room doctor, a physician in an emergency room, in a very, very busy ER. And I keep seeing the same injuries coming in over and over again. I can't yell at the people, don't get hurt. I want to go out in the streets and explain to them how to avoid getting hurt because that might be the only thing you can do. So it's sad, but we'll see what happens, and I will follow up on this if I hear anything. But as of right now, it looks like many of these RV owners are out of luck, and I feel even worse for the ones who said, yeah, there's a lien on that, and they didn't extinguish the lien, and they sold the vehicle to somebody else. So that's strange. Of course, makes you wonder what happens if you stop making payments on that RV because the bank could repo it. And then the bank could repo it and auction it to pay themselves off if possible. And then, of course, the person who bought it would want to sue somebody, but they can't sue you for not making the payments because you had no agreement with them. So my advice to them would say, maybe you should stop making them payments. But I don't offer legal advice on this channel as noted in the end credits. So there you go. RV dealer closes, leaving customers in debt. Adam Woodbury wrote it. A lot of people sent it. KKCL11news.com ran the story. I hope those people can get some form of justice. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. I drive way too fast to worry about cholesterol.